It's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where Aston Villa have just won 1-0 away at Everton, snapping a 5-game losing streak away from home. And we did a team sheet tantrum beforehand, and I kind of said I don't really care who plays. It was one of those team sheet tantrums where I didn't really care who plays as long as we get a win. And we did that. We got a win, and I thought we were very much so the better team. They weren't convincing in certain instances, certain aspects of the game. There was a couple of corners that came in we weren't convincing from. Lindstrom misses a sitter. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed one as well. But on the flip side, we had Jacob Ramsey put one wide just before halftime. We had Ollie Watkins missing 1-on-1 with goalkeeper. So I suppose from that point of view, it was kind of swings and roundabouts. But on the balance of play, I thought Villa were much the better side. Definitely in the first half, and into the second half as well. I thought that we looked, whenever we had the ball, we looked like we were able to control it. We looked like we were able to attack much better. Even though we were small, but we were stifled in attack. We got in our own way an awful lot of the time. But a win is a win, and I thought that was a good, decent performance from Aston Villa, specifically away at home. We nullified any new manager bounce. First 10 minutes, I thought we quietened. We kept the crowd really, really quiet. I thought there was a couple of standout performances. Yuri Tielemans was excellent in the first half. Boubacar Kamara was absolutely superb throughout. And I think from 1 to 11, I don't think there was anyone that was really lacking in anything today. Everybody played their part. And I think that, as I said, 3 points pushes us up to 7th place. I had it up there a moment ago. I should have kept it, kept the league table there while I had it. But we're up to 7th place, and look, onwards and upwards towards, I suppose, where we want to be. Yeah, we're level on points with Manchester City, and with Newcastle. Is that right? Did Newcastle end up? No, Newcastle won, surely. Their game isn't over yet. They were winning 3-0. We're 11 on points with Man City, and we're only 2 points off Chelsea. And look, life is good. I think at the minute, 2 points off Chelsea, and Newcastle are gone above Chelsea now on 38 points. So job done for a midweek game and onwards towards Arsenal, I think. That's obviously not going to be where we leave it here with the post match, because I want to talk a small little bit about the overall kind of balance of this team that we saw out there today. It looked good. There was times, obviously, when our two wide players and Ramsey and Rodgers didn't get on the ball much in the first half. There were periods of time when they didn't. I think Jacob Ramsey had 11 touches of the ball after 10 minutes, and then on 30 minutes he had only 13 touches of the ball. So there was there was an almost 20-minute period again where he only got 2 touches of the ball. Similarly, Rodgers on the right-hand side. But as the game went on, they obviously became more and more, they got more into it. Ramsey obviously missing that chance just before halftime, and Rodgers getting into it, getting his assist for Ollie Watkins' goal. And Ollie Watkins himself, I thought, there was a lot of running around, there was a lot of occupying the 2 centre halves. He gets that chance from Ashley Young. Error, I think it was an Ashley Young error that it was, and it falls to Ollie Watkins. I thought Pickford did well coming out, but Ollie Watkins should be sticking that away every day of the week, and he doesn't, and he puts it about a foot wide of the goalkeeper's left-hand post, and Villa should really have been 1-0 up at that stage. Prior to that, Villa didn't really have many chances. They had a Morgan Rodgers chance that was stopped by Pickford. They had an Onana chance that was stopped by Pickford, and they had another Onana chance that went wide. I think Tielemans might have had a shot prior to that as well. But, we were the better team. We were controlling the ball. We were controlling elements of the play. I just had a good feeling about this game for Villa for probably, of the 94 and a half minutes that were played, 91 of those minutes, I think Villa were very much in the ascendancy. There was obviously a couple of chances that Everton had, but outside of that, I think Villa look good, and they look good for a 1-0 win. Would I have liked it to have been 2 or 3? I absolutely would have, because I still wasn't 100% confident that this wasn't going to be a draw, albeit I was enjoying the way the Villa were playing. I was happy with the way Villa played. Couple of things as well I want to talk about is that we only made 1 substitution, if I'm not mistaken, in the whole game. Let me bring up the post-game statistics here on who scored, and we'll bring them up here. I think they only made 1 substitution, if I'm not mistaken. Buendia, I think, was the only one. And of course, when I click in it, it won't show. It doesn't seem to want to load for me. But that to me was surprising, because before the game, I started talking about, the horses we have on the bench that we could bring on, and we didn't use them at all. We saw no John Duran. We saw we didn't see Matson. We didn't see Bailey. To the best of my knowledge, I'm blanking. That'll tell you. There. Let's see. All right. Nothing wants to load. Okay. I'm just wondering, am I even still online? We'll keep on going. So yeah. So I thought that we would make more of our substitutes. I thought that we would see John Duran, but I suppose maybe with Arsenal coming up at the weekend, you can have 2 ways of thinking there. Do we bring those players off and keep them fit, keep them fresh for the weekend, or does he feel that there's enough time between now and subsequent games to maybe make those changes in other games, should I say? I don't know. I wouldn't back against John Duran starting the game at the weekend. I wouldn't back against Dean Matson maybe starting at left back at the weekend, albeit that one is less likely. Maybe Leon Bailey comes in at the weekend. But all in all, I think another reason that the substitutions may not have been made was, and people, me included, were crying out for a sub to be made, because Onana was booked after like 9 minutes, and after 11 minutes he had something like 3 fouls. So really interested to see what was going on there. But they left him on, and Unai left him on, and he was justified. It balls of steel to leave him on, but he was justified to do so. But yeah, so I think there's there's 2 trains of thought there, that you don't want to mess with the balance of this team. Take the points that are on offer today when we're 1-0 up. Do we go taking players off, resting players, maybe upsetting the balance of the team? We know that Unai Emery previously has taken off Boubacar Kamara and has Boubacar Kamara, and at times that has unsettled our team, because he was by far and away a man of the match today. You could not take him off. He was everywhere. Stop doing on the goal line, sure. And everything after Calvert-Lewin's poor shot. So he was absolutely everywhere. He was outstanding today, a real man of the match. So I think taking him off, or maybe taking Rodgers off when he is very much one of our only outlets of carrying the ball, considering Ramsey came off for Buendia. I can understand why those substitutions weren't made. The Duran one is a bit puzzling, because I thought that he might want to get some minutes into his legs after having 3 games off. But Ollie Watkins had gotten his goal, and maybe that's what he wanted to do, was keep him on, because he was occupying the centre halves and he was making those runs in behind. But I want to go back to Boubacar Kamara again, because interestingly, we spoke about this at the West Ham game, after the West Ham game, or if I didn't convey it correctly, I want to try and rectify that and convey it now. The difference that Boubacar Kamara makes when he pushes back into that right centre-back role in our build-up play is outstanding, because it allows Matty Cash to go forward. It's Jacob Tanswell put it up on Twitter. It was 2023 Aston Villa, and I have to agree. He looks so confident and so comfortable there. And his ability to be able to step up out of that position when Matty Cash is back there and seamlessly back into midfield, and even step further on in midfield, yet still have the engine to get back. Boubacar Kamara is teaching Tip on how to play that 6 pivot. He's just so damn good. He's just so good. He's a joy to watch. We often, myself and Paddy often have a little sneer and jeer at Steven Gerrard, but like, hands down, the best thing he did for this football club was fly to Marseille and sit down with Boubacar Kamara's father and wine him and dine him and get him to choose us in a free transfer, because the man is brilliant. Kamara is just such a natural footballer, such a natural for that position. I know he is obviously his upbringing and stuff like that was at centre half, moving into that midfield position then for Marseille. At the time that we signed him, I did have the breakdown about how many games he played at centre half and how many games he played in midfield. And it's just what a cool customer. What a cool customer we have in our hands there. And that man is worth an awful lot of money to Aston Villa Football Club. He's indispensable, I think, currently at the moment. Indispensable to Aston Villa Football Club. And long may that continue, that he is here, and long may we continue to win with him and give him what he feels he needs to have within this club. And I want to see him here for a long, long time. Sign that man up in a new contract and make it 1,000 million. Is that a billion? 1,000 million, a billion? I think it is. €1 billion release clause. Fuck it. Why not? You know, they do it in Spain. Why not do it for Aston Villa as well? So, yeah, I thought he was by far and away the best player on the field. I thought he was absolutely superb. Yeah, I thought he was absolutely superb. Thought Tielemans was really good as well. Played further forward. He didn't have against West Ham. He made a few mistakes. He looked a little bit out of position there. His composure, he wasn't as composed as normal. I thought today he was absolutely superb. I put up a tweet with his output after 35 minutes. He had 4 crosses, he had 3 key passes out of 17 passes in total. Like, he was just running the show for Aston Villa in the first 35 minutes. Although we had nothing to show for it, he was just there. He was everywhere, picking up that ball, laying it off, making sure he was sliding balls through, getting out onto that wide left area, getting balls across the box. Luka Dean was the only other person to cross the ball as well. So all the crosses were coming from that left-hand side, it seems, in the first half. But, you know, I thought he was really, really good as well. I thought Onana did what I expect Onana to do when he came into this club, and be a bit of a stopper. Very much a stopper there in midfield, albeit he did have opportunities to slide balls through. And I was impressed with one or two of his deft passing in and around the middle third of midfield. I thought he was very efficient there at times. And I think he is more comfortable in that 3 with Kamara, Tielemans himself. They looked like they were comfortable and understood their roles. Yeah, I was a lot happier with that, because Tielemans wasn't as far forward, and you know, those 3 were kind of moving around each other quite a bit, and almost ceding that space in front of the centre halves that Everton, I won't say left, but they had Ganagay and they had what you call him, the other mush there, Mangala, were there. So we didn't really want to engage those guys. We wanted to bring them forward to leave the 2 centre halves with Ollie Watkins and potentially one of the other 2 lads running forward, whether it be McGinn or whether it be Ramsey or Rodgers. And I think that worked, because it allowed Tielemans more opportunity to get in the ball, to play a small bit more. In the first 10 minutes, there was a bit of a press to the first 15 minutes, because we were on top. There was a bit of a press from Abdoulaye Doucouré, but that kind of petered out as the game went on. It didn't peter out, but it wasn't as, you know, there was large portions of the game where we were able to play through that. We were able to get past it. A couple of times Mings was slow on the ball again, but, you know, he underhit 1 or 2 passes back to Emi Martinez, not by much, but by a small bit. Apart from that, I thought he was absolutely fine. Ezri Konsa found himself up in the top left position at one stage, chased the ball down, started bringing it forward, and then engaged Mikalenko when he went back. Was it Mikalenko? I think. No, it was the other lad on the other side. Engaged him then when he went forward, and stayed up there for quite a bit. But I thought he was good in the air against Calvert-Lewin. Konsa, and I think on the balance of play, you know, Villa's defense, yes, Everton had two very good chances. If you want to call that one from the corner where there was a bit of pushing and shoving, where there's potentially a penalty, which I wouldn't have given a penalty for, but probably would have screamed if it was a penalty, if we didn't get a penalty for it. And one of those ones, I think Villa's defense coped pretty okay. I think there was obviously the hairy moments, as I mentioned before, but a clean sheet is something that we don't see too often in recent times. So we'll take that anytime we get it. Going to come to some of your comments here as well, guys, because there's a ton of comments there, so I'm going to open them up. Wax says Kamara is by far our most valuable player. Again, Nick Shearing says the same thing. Dave says positives, 3 points, clean sheet, Kamara. Negatives, Watkins and Ramsey's finishing will cost us against anyone half decent. Sat back again after going in front. I don't agree that we sat back after going in front, but everything else I think is very, very valid points there, Dave, for sure. Where else are we? Jay Reynolds says needs to be much more clinical in front of goal. Midfield needs to chip in with a few, but 3 points is what counts. Absolutely agreed. I think Ramsey getting a goal today. Ramsey can feel a small bit aggrieved for himself at the weekend. Cracks one off the crossbar. Another day that hits off the crossbar and post. Another day that hits off the post and goes in. Today his finish he knows was poor. Today I'd imagine. I think the goals from midfield, specifically from Ramsey, I think he gets one. He might go on a run of scoring, maybe like 2 and 5 or 3 and 6 or something like that. He seems to be coming back to his pre-injury self. I saw a lot of plus points in him today. And look, I'm not going to be too hard on him in his on that miss. It was a bad miss, but his contributions from open play I thought were very decent today, and I need to see him, and I'm happy to see him getting better and better and better again. If Ollie Watkins doesn't score the second chance he gets after missing the first chance, I've often said that I stamped the tickets on the Ollie Watkins fan bus. Jesus, I might have been taking one of the wheels off the fan bus at that stage, because the first chance, I will go to my grave to say the first chance that Pickford did a great job to come out to him, but he still needs to finish it. Good strikers finish that. Top range strikers finish that chance, and he wasn't far away, but it didn't go in the back of the net. It doesn't butter any parsnips when you put it half a yard wide or a yard wide, when you only have the goalkeeper to beat and the goalkeeper is rushing out on top of you, no matter how good a job he does. I think that's a fair criticism. It's not over the top. It's not harsh. Like, I'm not sitting here saying Watkins is shite. I don't believe he is. I think he's a very, very good footballer. But he should be putting that ball away. And then he does with the second one. He puts it away and we win 1-0. We win this game because Ollie Watkins scored. Let's not forget that. So it's very easy for us to go, Ollie Watkins missed that chance. If we played against a good team, we would have been fucked altogether. I don't. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant in some ways because we've got the 3 points. But the relevancy of it is, Ollie Watkins has come good in big games as well against good teams in the past. And I'm not here doing a sweep up job for Ollie Watkins or anything. I've just said he should score that goal, and I'd be absolutely bollocking him out of it. But we got the win today because of a goal that I don't think anybody could have missed the chance that he did score. But still, he had to put it in the back of the net. Morgan Rogers did a great job with it as well. More praise for Kamara there from Dream Villain. What a special player. He was immense tonight. Rasta says it was nail biting at the end. Delighted with 3 points in the clean sheet. And he can't believe the Duran didn't get on. More Boubacar Kamara praise as well. I love it. By the way, the superstition didn't kick in or didn't cause an issue. I usually don't wear Villa gear before games because when I do, we lose. But I did today and we won. So and we kept clean sheet. So maybe this might be my lucky shirt. And what a nice shirt it would be to have as my lucky shirt as well. Where else are we? Right, Jay Reynolds says Ramsey looks like he's playing for the shirt now. We signed Malin. He's not playing for the shirt, and I don't think Malin's going to play on his side, but he's playing for minutes, I think, because obviously Malin comes in the right, Morgan Rogers shifts over to the left. or potentially Morgan Rogers plays through the centre. I don't know, does the Maitland signing have a ton of effect on Jacob Ramsey? I know you called him Gordon Ramsay, on Jacob Ramsey, but I think with that signing, everybody in the wide positions that can play in the 10 are now going to be up in their game, because there is another body in here who can do that job. Jaden Philogene was in here. He wasn't getting it done. He wasn't getting game time. There's no way you bring in Daniel Mallon with his international record and so on, and where he's been in the game, as opposed to where Jaden Philogene has been, and it doesn't immediately put pressure on those wide positions in that number 10 position. But Ramsey, as you say, he's playing much better, and if that's what he needs, well, then it's an absolute massive plus point, I think, for everybody. Rachel in St. Louis says, two manager bounces we dealt with. Absolutely. I said before the West Ham game that I don't really buy into the whole new manager bounce, even though I know that it does happen, and it did happen to us against Manchester United when Emery took over. And the reason that I don't anymore is that I would have believed in it 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that time. I just think the game is so massively analysed at the moment. I think teams are so well prepared. I think in this instance, specifically with the team, with the players West Ham had, there wasn't a massive amount that Potter was going to be able to do in a day to change it around. He got a tune out of them last night, and he will do great work. I like Potter as a manager. I like David Moyes as a manager as well. But I think you go back to Everton as David Moyes, and David Moyes has not reinvented. Like, there's no way David Moyes has gone away and had this epiphany, drank ayahuasca in South America, and has come back as a second coming of Philippe Scolari or something like that, and hasn't just embraced the Samba spirit into him. David Moyes has tape, and he has a relative track, well, not a relative, but he has a track record over the last 3 years with West Ham that he ain't going to turn around and change when he signs on a Sunday, I think it is, or what it was a Saturday maybe, I think, when he becomes the manager, and then to the Wednesday when he takes over the team. So, yes, there will be new manager bounces, but I don't think it's going to be as common as it probably was in the past. And we've dealt with two of them. And that's great. And that shows character. That shows character and breeding on our part, I think. That's what that does. See, Line makes a good point here. I don't think we needed to push it massively tonight, so we didn't. We got the lead and protected it, and I don't think the recovery sessions are going to be too difficult after that. Yeah, it wasn't the game played at high octane. Now, I don't know whether that was by choice by our players or what. I'm always going to come down on the side of, and when I said about Dave there about us sitting back, he said previously, and I said I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree we did it purposely or on purpose. I didn't believe that we were doing active resting or anything like that. I believed we were a lot more in control of the game after, even though we weren't on the ball as much after we scored. And I think that's fine. Because I genuinely did not see a whole pile from Everton outside of some mistakes that we made. That gifted them some of the chances that they had. And look, Calvert-Lewin should make it probably 1-1. I know that's an absolute given, but he didn't. And Everton were always only going to get that one or two chances. I never thought they were going to fashion like a 10-minute onslaught against us, a massive 10-minute onslaught against us. And I'm open to correction, but I don't think they did throughout the course of the game. So yeah, I think it was. I think it was good. I think it was nervy in one or two instances, but I think there was nice control. There was decent control from Aston Villa in that second half as well. So this is interesting here. There's just two comments here. So I hate to say it, but we really miss Pau. He's a lot more dynamic than Mings, and that's it. That's undeniable. I think it's undeniable. I also think that the team has changed their build-up approach because Mings is in there. And I don't think there was anything massively wrong with our build-up approach today either. We still created a decent amount of chances. We just had to create them in different ways. But the opposite one here is, and I agree with this too, Winnipeg Walter says, Mings on corners, I feel a lot less worried. If I'm not mistaken, I think Everton did they have 3 corners in a row, and Mings got his head to them all 3 times. The commentary I watched at one stage got it bang on Kanza was marking, Amadou and Onana was marking, and Mings was kind of free in the centre to go and win those balls, and he did. And we did look a small bit better at corners, albeit I did say we had one or two messy ones there where there was potential VAR checks or whatever. He's a lot better in the air. He's a lot stronger. He's much more of a British style defender. So what you take one hand with regards to the passing, and look, his passing is not Pau Torres. It's no problem saying that. Pau Torres, from an aerial ability and from a stout defending ability, is not Tyrone Mings either. So the hybrid of the two would be absolutely brilliant. It would be a £200 million player. Maybe, I don't know. But the way things are going, you could charge what you want for somebody like that. But I agree with both points. We do miss Pau in the build-up, but also we don't miss Pau when balls are reined into our penalty area. And Emi Martinez looked a bit confident as well tonight. He came for crosses when he needed to as well. And he stayed at home because Mings was there, I think, a small bit more too. And that's fine. You know, swings and roundabouts, I think, and the way we set up will obviously be different with the two of them. But completely agree with both points. Like, I can understand people thinking that we should have been more clinical, should have won that game 2-3-0, and we made it a bit harder on ourselves by only winning 1-0. But, and this is not anything you guys are saying here in the chat, so don't misconstrue this. But on Twitter, I had a lot of people who had a pretty negative view in that game. Villa were shite. Villa were awful. And I just don't. I'm here to give my opinion. I'm not here to tell anyone that they're wrong. I just don't think that. I don't think Villa were bad tonight. I think they were well drilled. I think they were set up. I think what they did right. I think that they played through the processes, specifically in midfield, and they were able to get it wide when they wanted to. I don't think they got it wide enough at times. I think maybe having Rodgers on the other side, on the wrong side, and Ramsey on the left-hand side, he's not a natural winger as such. I think that there was probably areas of opportunity there in the first half, specifically. And then when we went behind, you know, we looked resolute, and we did attack. But, you know, I can understand people's frustration in that. But on Twitter, some people were saying that we were poor. And if Everton even half showed up, they would have beaten us today. And I don't think that's fair, because if people say, if Everton had raised their game, they would have beaten us. But the hypothetical in that is, if Everton had raised their game, who's to say we didn't raise our game? So for me, it's a bit of a silly argument, is what I'm saying. But you're entitled to have that argument, and you're entitled to have that opinion yourselves as well. I just, you know, when we're winning games like that, and we can win it the way that we used to always win them under Unai Emery, and it's an Unai Emery thing to win games like that as well. If you're looking for us to score 5-6 goals against the team and be massively comfortable, and not even 5-6, that's being facetious on my part. But if the standard is, if we don't go out and score and win games 2-3-0 every game, but there's going to be a small bit of disappointment there, and people are more than entitled to have that disappointment. I just don't share it. I don't just don't share that disappointment. And that's okay too. That's what the beauty of the internet is about. It's all about discourse. Where else are we? David Dam said Everton defended very well and were very well organised. It's a massive game having Moyes back. We got the job done, and that's what matters. Everton would want to have defended well, because I think you could have brought in, I think Paddy Kelly could have came in there and given direction, and that back four goalkeeper would have done the same thing that they've been doing under Sean Dyche. Because I think they know that, like, there comes a time in a player's career, in a player's season, whereby specifically, and this is another thing that comes back to the new manager bounce, specifically in the back four, like that, they were playing really well and keeping clean sheets. It was the attacking impetus and stuff like that wasn't there. I think that no matter what David Moyes had told those guys to do, they were going to go out there and they were going to keep it safe. They were going to keep it calm, because that's all they know. That's what James Tarkowski knows. That's what Jared Brantwaite knows. They know how to be good defenders, and we did well against them. I think we did well against them. They defended well. I think we did well moving them around the place. There are no mugs. They're a very good defense, and Pickford is arguably one of the goalkeepers on form in the Premier League so far. But you're dead right, Dave. They defended really well, and they were well organised, and they're a good defensive unit. especially with the two lads in front, Gannigan and Mangala. And you need to know how to play against those, and you need to be able to draw those, one, if not both of those, further up the field and seed that area in front of the two centre halves as well, which I think Villa did very well tonight. And I think maybe if we had him again, or maybe we had somebody that was a bit more pacey, that was able to get into those places, and a small bit better, potentially that might have worked, and maybe we might have seen a bit more of an open and free-flowing game from Villa, but we didn't, and I think we occupied those places really well. We got out wide when we needed to, and we could have gotten those goals. We could have gotten more goals if we were a bit more clinical, but we got the job done. I think that's it. And Cloudy is right. He says Moyes did win a European Cup at West Ham, so he knows what he's doing. He absolutely does. I've got good time for David Moyes. I really do have good time for David Moyes. Right. Sivers, great question, because I have this on, and I was just walking into I just literally put this on before the team sheet tantrum, and as I was walking into the house, I went, Christ, it's very low down. It goes right down, like, it is long on the body, but I don't care. I'm going to tuck it in. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those farmers that tucks in my jersey. So I don't really care. But yes is the answer, Sivers. Yes is the answer to your question. Yes, for sure. Right. I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I know there's a ton of comments coming in there for two reasons. Is because I've got a child who looks like they're waking up here on my baby monitor. And secondly, I don't know how I've gotten 31 minutes out of this talking all on my own. But I do appreciate every single one of you coming in here in the comments. Apologies, can't get to all the comments. Love the chats after a win. Love the chats after a loss. Love the chats after a draw. We had over 1,000 people. We nearly 1,200 people in here at one stage listening to one man and his microphone here in the west of Ireland. So thanks a million to everybody for what you do. Villa in a very, very decent position. 7th place in the league. Joint points with Man City. And 2 points behind Chelsea, 3 points behind Newcastle, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. And yes, we've got Arsenal on the horizon, but a couple of new signings hopefully to come, a couple of defensive reinforcements, and we're in a decent position, and hopefully we'll be able to kick on in the coming days and weeks and months. For anybody that will be at the Celtic game, yours truly will be at that too. I'll be over in Birmingham on the Wednesday, flying in at 7 o'clock in the morning. I think we get into Birmingham, so we'll be there from then. Love to meet up with people around the ground. If you're around, let me know. And that's the Celtic game this day in 2 weeks' time. So hopefully we'll be able to get to see some of you guys there. But in the meantime, thanks a million for watching and for listening. Anything that does break from a transfer point of view over the next few days, I'll try and come to you guys with my honest opinion. But until then, everyone, hit the thumbs up on the way out and stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up to Villa.